Okay, so if you've just finished the installer video and you're wondering how to get to this screen, once it's installed, close everything down, go down to the start menu or whatever. I'm in Windows 11, click Visual Studio here, and this will come up, and you've got all this confusing stuff, which is going to be very confusing, but I'm going to explain. So what we're going to do first of all is create a new project down here. We're going to create project, and it's going to ask you for a template. Now this gets very confusing because we have a lot of templates down the side here, especially if you've installed all of the things. Look how many we've got, and you're like, how am I going to understand all this? Right, so we're going to go through it. Reality is we're only ever going to use two. Anything in Unity we would create via Unity. So we've got the two types of projects we're going to make. We might make a console application or a web application, but the first thing you can do is, or a form application, sorry, is go to all languages and just tick C#, and that will get rid of a lot of them. However, you can still see there's still quite a lot here, which very specific uses. I mean, a lot of these are actually very similar, but they just have the starting code is slightly different. So actually, you don't need to worry about that. We're going to start with a console application, which is essentially very similar to how Python looked. So I'm going to start off with it. Okay, here. A project for creating command line applications that can run on .NET Core on Windows, Linux and Mac OS. Obviously, I'm going to run it in here. So double click on it and it's going to go like that. You get to give it a name. Okay, so I'm going to call it C#. I don't think I can use the hash 1 for no reason. And there you go. I mean, you probably should put it in a proper directory, but in this video, I'm just literally showing you how to create a project. Obviously, I should probably have a folder for this. In fact, I'm going to, because, you know, why not? So I'm going to go to this PC. I'm going to go to my documents. I'm going to make a new folder called C# projects. And then I'm going to put it in there and select the folder, and there you go. Why not? It's in my OneDrive, which is fine. So I'm going to save it in there, but you don't have to save it anywhere. You like. Ignore that. Save one you've got, and there's a lot to programming, and if I stop and explain everything about what .NET Core is in the first video, then we won't get anywhere. So we will all learn this stuff at an appropriate time. Not actually that important to what we're doing right now, actually, the .NET stuff. And here is the program. Right, so I'm going to zoom in. Okay. And I'm not going to explain things like namespaces right now. I'm not going to explain classes right now. I'm not going to explain using right now. And you might think that you're missing out so much. But they really kind of go. Namespaces are kind of impossible to explain really until we talk about classes and other things. What you've got to understand, and I can run this, like I'll just run here, and there we go, build successful, and here it ran, and it said hello world, which is the standard thing, so I'm going to press a key to close it. So this is what I mean by command line. It runs in a command line window. This is called a console window, is another thing. Let's close the console. So this is a console application. It is, and if you want to understand the difference, what I mean is, this File Explorer that I just loaded is a Windows form, so it has all these automatic things. You don't have to code these. Windows will do these for you, and closing, and you can make buttons and all that sort of stuff. And if we did a Windows form, we would have some code, but we'd also be able to design a form and like a button and other things. And we will get to that, but you don't want to learn two things at once, and we need to learn to do C#, so let's focus on C#. So this is the initial introduction to it. I'm just going to close that. So really, what you've got to understand is that in C#, basically the program runs in the main. Okay, so this is essentially your program. This is another reason why a lot of teachers don't like teaching anything other than Python to students, especially in Key Stage 4 and 3. Because even a basic program in C#, C++, Java, they have all this other stuff that kids get really confused by. And whereas in Python, like, it would just like have this. You'd have like print, and that would be it. And you'd be like, wow. But because they're more complex languages and have their own nuances, there's other things going on, which at some point I will explain. But right now, it's not very important. what you have to understand is whatever you type in the main procedure, you can call it that. It's a method, but you might think of it as procedure. Is what will be executed. So this is what gets executed. This method of this class called program, which we'll definitely explain this because we need to learn this in the course, is going to be executed in there. So whatever I put in here, if I, for example, wanted to do some, and I will go through this in more detail, declare a variable in age equals 18. I will talk about more of this in the other one, and then print hello plus age, which of course you should know is going to print that. Now you might think, how did we add a string to an integer? Well, we'll get to that. A lot of this is just C# doing things for you without you needing to worry about it. But there you go. So that's how you start the project. So when we do a project in all of these things we're going to do, you do it like that. Okay, there you go. That's the end of video 1. Going to go straight into something else after this. And there you go. That's video 1 done.